Record or YouTube. Hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to Wednesday Evening Encore. I am Christopher D. Thomas. She doesn't want to chase, she wants to be chosen. She doesn't want to chase, she wants to be chosen. We're going to talk about engineering a wait list for your products, for your services, for your books, for your courses, anything that you are creating. How to engineer a wait list and turn those followers that you have into first dibs buyers. You know, many people now are getting ready for Black Friday. And we talked about last week about how your timeline very soon is going to turn into a we're selling this, we get 90% off here, you get 50% off here. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a good deal myself. However, as a growing, thriving, business, right? And I hate the word small using this, but for the sake of the conversation, since people can identify with it as a small business, how many of us can really afford to do discounts, right? Now, I can see about having something marked or priced in a way that has value and you're using it to drive traffic somewhere. All right. It's not stated at a discount. You may have it priced at $7.97 or $5.97 or $5.99 or something low like that. But we're not saying and using the word discount. We're going to talk to you. Let's dig in more. Let's dig in more. Your customer does not want to be chased. Your customer wants to be chosen. So I want you to be honest. I want you to be honest. Now, followers we know are free. Buyers, on the other hand, buyers, they're expensive, especially the ones who keep you on read. Those who are not looking at your particular messages because, they're busy. They're busy. They don't know what you're talking about. They may be seeing you for the first time. All right. Here's the truth about most brands. Here's the truth most brands avoid. If your audience isn't lining up to buy before you launch, you're not underselling, you're under anticipated. What we know is that every thriving woman-owned brand that you admire, think about that brand that you admire. Think about that woman-owned brand that you admire. Yes, the ones who have, sold out in 6 hours, either an event or a book or some type of pre-sale. They don't have audiences. They have what's called engineered wait lists. Engineered wait lists. And on this particular episode of Wednesday Evening Encore, I'm going to show you how to build one quietly, elegantly, and intentionally so that your next offer doesn't launch to crickets, but it lands to an applause. Now, I wish I had a sound system. I would be pushing applause right now, applauding so everyone would be able to hear it. But we don't, at least not yet. Or maybe something I may need to get and add to the effects of my live. What do you all think? So let's talk about the hidden pain, the pre-launch graveyard. Now, how many of you have done a pre-launch before, have planned to launch something, and you've created the product first, waiting to create the product before you even start talking about the product? Now, if you go back and visit some previous episodes of Wednesday Evening Encore, I spoke about how to create and sell a product or a service before it's even created. before it's even created, how to sell a course before it's even created, how to sell a workshop before it's even created. We talked about that. Now, how many of you have done some type of performed some type of a pre-launch and it just seemed like it was going to crickets? So let me describe that particular person. She's brilliant. She's credible. She's kind. She posts. She educates. And she even does a soft launch. Then when launch day comes, the room is silent. She blames the algorithm. She blames timing. But the truth is she never built anticipation equity. Never built anticipation equity. You can't cash in urgency that you've never created. Followers are spectators and wait lists are participants. And the participants don't scroll by your promo. They lean in. They lean in. So let's talk about the problem. The audience, we're so involved about creating an audience for ourselves. Audiences are like window shoppers. Have you ever been window shopping? Have you ever been window shopping? So they become window shoppers and not future clients. So you start doing the pre-launch, it turns into a panic parade. You post every day, you hint, you tease, and you start to resent your own brilliance. You know you're brilliant, but you start resenting your own brilliance because no one's biting. The resentment is the scent of burnout. And guess who can smell it? Your client. Your client can smell it. Now, what we're going to do on this particular episode, we're going to shift from announcing offers to engineering anticipation. You don't chase attention. You cultivate readiness because anticipation is the highest form of desire. So, I'm always going to give you a formula or a system. So I've created what's called the waitlist formula. The waitlist formula isn't a list of names, yet what it is a psychological ecosystem. So here's what to do, when to do it, why it works, what to expect. And without me giving you the full how to do it, I'm going to give you everything else. So let's start with the W in waitlist. Remember, this is called the waitlist formula, W-A.I.T.L.I.S.T formula, the waitlist formula. So the W, warm up the future buyer. Warm up the future buyer. You're going to start conversations before the campaigns, before your advertising campaigns. When do you do that? You do that 3 weeks before the launch session. Now, why do you do it? Familiarity. Familiarity lowers the risk. Risk kills the sales. Now, when you do that, when you warm up the future buyer, you're going to be able to expect a quieter DM tab now. Messaging, how much is that? But a louder Stripe later. And when many of you who are taking payments know about Stripe. All right. Quieter DMs, but louder Stripes. Who doesn't like that ding when a sale comes on your mobile device? And just imagine those ding, 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 those multiple sales that are actually coming through. Who doesn't like those notifications? Okay, so the W is to warm up the future buyer. The A is anchor her identity. Frame your offer as a mirror. Now, we've talked about mirroring your clients quite often over the past few weeks. Frame your offer as a mirror, not a ladder. When do you do it? Early content drip. Start dripping things out early, weeks before. Now, why do you do that? Women buy to become who they already sense they are. Women buy to become who they already sense they are. Now, when you do that, you can expect fewer price objections. People will pay what your rate is and not ask for a discount. You'll get more. I've been waiting for this. All right. So the A in the wait list formula is anchor her identity. Now, the first I in wait lists, invite micro actions. One click opt-ins. One click opt-ins. We get to a point where we could ask too many questions for someone to opt in to get some information. We start to qualify too much. And if we make it too challenging, too tough for a person to opt into something, then we lose them. All right. So one click opt-ins. Create perhaps a private preview group. I have someone who's tuned in right now on Instagram who is considering selling these dynamic pound cakes that gets requested. And we were having her session, her 15-minute session on yesterday, actually. Yeah, it was yesterday. And we talked about uh, doing some type of a taste test. That taste test can turn into a preview group, which will automatically have you sales as soon as you're ready. And so having those private preview groups will invite that micro action, training people what it is that you want them to do. Think about early bird forms. Early bird forms. Now, when do you do that? You do that right after the curiosity spikes. Why? Because you're creating what's called small commitments. And those small commitments retrain the brain to anticipate more. And you do that. And when you do that, you can expect momentum without manipulation. Momentum without manipulation. Now, the T. Now, that was the first I, which is invite the micro action. Now, the T in wait list formula. Tether emotion to privilege. Call it what it is. You could call it first dibs. It's first dibs access. Now, when do you do that? You want to do that mid bill. Why? Who doesn't want to feel exclusive? Exclusivity activates protective instinct. It feels value. It feels value. And a lot of people, many people don't feel valued these days. And so that's why it works. And when you do that, you're going to be able to expect DM replies. How do I get on that list? How do I get on that list? So the T in wait list formula is tether emotion to privilege. Now, the L in list, L-I-S-T, the L is leverage proof and leverage proof. What do? You're going to show who's already inside. You want to do that approximately 2 weeks out from the campaign. People trust crowds of credibility. That's why it works. People don't want the fear of missing out. FOMO. They don't want to have the fear of missing out. People want gravity. not noise. So the L in wait list formula is leverage proof. All right. Now the the last I, uh, uh, is in infused relief language. Infused relief language. Now, sell to the calm after the decision. All right. The timing of the sale is extremely important. Sell to the calm after her decision. All right. You want to do that around the final 72 hours, all along the way. So if we start selling too early, we lose people. What we're doing those 3 weeks in advance, we're simply creating anticipation, you know, and creating proof, right? We're not selling anything. You're not selling anything. Yet, what you want to do, you can start to sell the calm after her decision. Now, your client's going to already have made up the decision when this comes out. I'm going to buy this. So you want to do this on the final 72 hours of that 3 weeks. Why? Women seek safety before speed. They want to know that they're going to be taken care of, that they're going to be valued, and they want that before the rush, all right, before the ask. It's like dating. What woman wants a man that comes on too fast? And I learned that the hard way, way back in the day. But I learned quickly because I had some women who were older than me that interesting took me to the side and put me on game. So I learned how to adjust that very quickly, and it worked. It worked. So the calm closes better than the hype. All right, just take it easy. Take it easy. All right. And what you're going to be able to expect is that finally someone gets how I think. Now, the I in wait list, the last I in list in that wait list means infuse relief language. Now, the S, set boundaries before opening the cart. Set boundaries before opening the cart. Before you sell, set your boundaries. Know what your boundaries are going to be. What is that? If you have limited dates, have a limited and specific date. If you have limited seats, state what those seats are. If you have no discount policy, have a clear no discount policy. When to do it? Before anyone asks. Why? Because your boundaries equal confidence. Confidence is what sells. And when you do that, you're going to be able to expect easier yeses and more respect. All right. I was talking to a phenomenal businesswoman, happens to be a Spanish owned, Spanish woman owned construction company. And she has really turned that business around from $2 million dollars on average to $2 million a year, upwards to $50 million as far as in construction work. And she's having some challenges that we spoke about today. Today was our first session, and believe it or not, respect is one of the things that she is not getting, in that particular space. And so we're going to work with her. I've decided that we're going to bring her on as a client, and we're going to set some formulas up for her. So boundaries are extremely important. So set the boundaries before you open up the cart. And the T is turn scarcity into stewardship. Turn scarcity into stewardship. Frame your capacity as a privilege to protect, not a gimmick. People don't want to feel like they're gimmicked or tricked, into something. So if it's scarce, you know, frame your scarcity because you are helping more folks. You're helping add more value. You're working hands on. And this is not a gimmick. You take what you do very serious and you're serious about it. Why do you do that? Because she admires leaders who value themselves. And when you do that, you'll be able to expect referrals from people who didn't even join simply because they respect your stance. All right. So the formula again for the wait list formula, the W, warm up the future buyer. A, anchor her identity. I, invite micro actions. T, tether emotion to privilege. L, leverage proof. I, infuse relief language. S, set boundaries before opening the cart. And T, turn scarcity into stewardship. Now, here's how one client who we use this wait list formula sold out before her launch. Her name is Jade. Now, Jade is a luxury skincare founder, a luxury skincare founder. Jade is a brilliant chemist, but was a terrible teaser. So what we did, excuse me, we partnered with Jade and built a soft power wait list that never mentioned sale nor a countdown. And what we did, we called it the Glow Circle. It was a private access, first to test the new serum, behind the scenes stories. And by the time that she opened up her cart, there were already 40 spots filled in 9 hours. Now, many of you, um, some of you are aware of this. There was a perfume, a fragrance for women that came out. Do any of you remember Mary J. Blige's perfume that she sold on what was that TV network? It was on a um, I can't think of the TV where they do the home shopping network or something similar to that. Anyway, it was called, or it is called, My Life. My Life. Now, um, when that first came out, I was involved with that, and we used a similar waitlist formula. We teased the entire um, campaign for almost a month before anyone even knew that it was going to come out, and we teased that whole thing. Now, to be, some people who have tried the My Life perfume, some like it, some don't. However, my my participation in that is because I believe in it. And so and the story behind, Mary J. and My Life, right? That's what sold the album. So the story behind it. And so we began to tell the story, and Before we even release, it was already sold out. No one had even smelled the fragrance before it even sold out. Now that almost never happens. So when I'm showing you, I'm proving to you that this wait list formula works. The wait list formula works. All right. So let's get back to the story. And so Jade, who is the chemist who has the luxury skincare line, we did all of that with no ads, no coupons, just engineered curiosity. Just engineered curiosity. Because remember, people don't line up for products, they line up for identity access. Identity access. So let's break down behind why the waitlist formula works. All right. So let's talk more about the hidden things that are happening behind anticipation, the hidden levers behind anticipation. So put yourself in this scenario before we break down the why this works. Think about something recent or in the years that you were highly anticipating to happen. How did it make you feel? How did it make you feel? So while you're thinking about that, think about also what I'm about to share with you about why the lever behind anticipation works so much when you're selling a product or a service or a workshop or something of the nature. It's because of subconscious safety. Subconscious safety. A wait list feels low risk. You know, they simply feel like they're getting early access to something. The safety is what invites the action later on. Number two, aspirational authority. Aspirational authority. You become the selector, not the chaser. Your leadership becomes magnetic and not like a maniac. Number three, emotional urgency. Emotional urgency. People don't want to, they're afraid to miss a deal. They're afraid to miss out on something that's going to happen. Uh, they're afraid to miss belonging and being a part, of. And so the emotional urgency is the psychological lever that's working behind anticipation. Relief language. You finally stop competing for attention. You finally stop competing for attention. That's the relief language. It calms the confidence and converts better when there is a countdown. Confidence converts better than countdown. So the reason it works: subconscious safety, aspirational authority, emotional urgency, and relief language. Now, I'm sharing with you all of this so you'll understand why this works. I'm not just telling you, what to do, when to do it. I'm sharing with you so that you understand why all of this works. And when you're putting your campaigns together, you'll understand the science behind it all. Now, does it work 100% of the time? No, it doesn't. But does it work the majority of the time? Absolutely. Absolutely. And the reason I say it doesn't work 100% of the time is because some people are different, their nuances, and etc. So what you're doing at this particular point in that wait list, everyone who sees information don't see themselves, or it may just be simply bad timing for them, they're not going to join the wait list. And that's okay. If they're not joining them, you don't necessarily want them there. It's not for them, right? So it's not going to be for everyone. That's why I say it doesn't work 100% of the time. It doesn't, if it doesn't fit them in their lifestyle, they can't see themselves in it. Thank you. You know, so you don't necessarily, you don't want them in that wait list because they don't have an interest, in your particular product. Now, when some people join a wait list just simply to be nosy, absolutely, but let them. If they buy from you, thank you for buying. Thank you for supporting. You know what? It's all good. It's all good. All right. So, um, a little bit more on what to do. What to do? You want to start building that First-Dibs system immediately after this episode. And if not immediately after this particular episode, or if you're listening to it, depending on when you're listening to it, you know, over the next few hours, next day. All right. Pick one offer, one audience, one promise. One, one, one. All right. When do you do it? You want to do it before the year ends. When everyone starts talking, when starts their pre-sales, you've already had some private buyers. Now, why do you do that? You do it because, remember, we talked about chasing engagement is expensive. But what compounds? Anticipation. Anticipation is what compounds. Higher conversions before launching. And I wanted to make sure I clarify that, make sure it didn't sound like I'm saying lunch. I got a little tongue tied. Lower anxiety during launch, and a following that actually waits for you. All right. So here's some, I'm going to give you some power moves as well. So here's some 3-line samples that can kind of give you more of an idea or excuse me, and some samples of some lines that convert well and convert followers into First-Dibs buyers. Some have used, we open to waitlist only, 72 hours early. And so why does that work? Is because instantly reframes your audience into insiders. Your waitlist, they want to become insiders before it's too late. So if they want to get in and they're an insider, they feel like a VIP, like only the VIPs are. And that's where the value is, right? You can learn about something before no one else even knows about it. It could also, here's another example. First looks means first choice. Who wouldn't want first choice? All right. So that means if you're in early, you get the first choice, the cream of the crop. Now, why does that work? Is because anticipation with autonomy. All right. Here's another language sample that some have used that I've seen, over the years. No discounts, just dibs. So people are coming in, they know they're going to get first dibs, but there are no discounts. Why does it work? Safety means scarcity without being sleazy. All right. So those are some power phrases that I've seen over the years that some have used, and wanted to share those with you and why those work. So you've watched brands pre-launch with countdown timers. Now it's time to watch your own buyers count down to you. When they're in that wait list, they're going to start doing the counting down. Not you. They're going to be anticipating when this thing is going to drop. Not you counting down, getting them excited about it. They're going to start doing it themselves because the excitement has already been built. The anticipation has already been built. So here's the move. Some of you have already gotten taken advantage of the visibility voltage blueprint. It's your next step tool to turn those quiet awareness into anticipation. Now, those of you who are on Instagram, if you go into my bio, there's a link that's inside of there will take you directly to get your copy of the visibility voltage blueprint. Those of you who are on YouTube and watching this on YouTube, there's a link inside of the description where you'll be able to take advantage of it as well. So let me review to ensure that I have everything that I wanted to share with you. That's it. Now, when you get that visibility voltage blueprint, that's where your premium leadership is going to start. That's where your premium leadership is going to start. So remember this: followers follow noise. First-Dibs buyers, they follow clarity. And you're not chasing attention. You are conditioning expectation. So when you master that, you won't just launch, you're going to lead. So thank you for tuning in to WinsDay Evening Encore. I am Christopher Thomas. I look forward to being here with you next Wednesday. All right. Take care. Have a great one.